Good morning, grade 10s. Sorry, you guys, just my screen isn't up, so I can't see myself. So I'm just gonna have some coffee. There I am. Hi guys. Can you give me a green check mark in Blackboard? Let me know what that you're here and that you're listening. You know, you guys, it's one of those mornings. I've been rushed all morning. I rushed in here. I literally just got set up, you guys. That's why we're starting a couple minutes late. Oh, it's been one of those mornings. But I'm glad you're joining me. I'm glad you've made it to class. All right. And the sun is shining today, so that's super important as well. All right. So today's lesson, you guys, and where we're going today, I'm super excited because we've kind of touched on this topic already earlier on when we were talking about in our last unit. But today, we're going to dig a little bit deeper and we're going to relate it to government, okay? And this is a super important skill. It's actually quite big on social media right now, all around that fake news. So, you know, when we talked about it last time, we kind of just surfaced it, but because it's brought up again right now, and it's really huge. It's been huge during the Donald Trump election, right? And it was huge in our provincial election as well. So I really want to make sure that you guys clearly understand this concept because it's a real skill that you guys need going out into the real world as well, right? Deciphering between fake news and real news. So really that's what we're focusing on today is media, okay? So here's our agenda, you guys. The announcements today, just like usual, okay, make sure you're checking your homepage for any, anything that's happening this week and in the future. Make sure you're checking your grades, please. Again, I'm still trying to get caught up, all right? I think that might be it. Just know, you guys, that really essentially we only have like maybe a month left of school. So we got to persevere through and push through these last couple of weeks, you guys. Those of you that are showing up to class consistently, you're doing fantastic. And, you know, like just keep coming, persevere. I know it's hard. Kind of helps actually that the weather's not great because then you guys are like, it's not nice outside. I'll come to class today, right? So today, you guys, we're going to review a strategy that we've done before in the past, Talking Chips. We're going to use that for our introduction today. We're going to go through the PowerPoint just to give you some base knowledge around how media and government interact with each other. And then I am going to get you guys to do a little bit of a research behind different types of media. And then you're going to create a forum post for me today, all right? And then we'll go over our assessment and reflection. Actually, I might ixnay the reflection today because your forum post is quite an in-depth reflection as well of today's lesson. So we might ixnay the reflection. And right now you're all like, yes. All right, so here's today's learning targets, you guys. That you can distinguish between factual and opinion-based news coverage, okay? And we're gonna go over those terms as well because you have to truly understand the difference between fact and opinion to really differentiate your media sources, okay? Number two is that you can assess the justification for competing accounts after investigating points of contention, reliability of resources, and adequacy of evidence, okay? So really when you're looking at the same topic, but two different sources, you've got to be able to look at those sources and think to yourself, okay? They have different biases. That's what points of contention is, right? Different biases. The reliability, are they reliable? Who wrote this, okay? Is there an underlying agenda behind the author's intention of writing this article? And the adequacy of evidence really relates to, is it evidence-based? Or is it fact? Or is it opinion? Okay, that's really what it means. And then the last one is that you can analyze the methods used by the media, the government, and other groups to influence public perception of an issue or event. Okay, so that's where we are heading with for today's lesson. Oh, I forgot to change the text color on this one, you guys, sorry. So with the Talking Chips, okay, we've done this before. Okay, so remember, I'm going to split you guys up into, because there's only a couple of you guys in class today, we'll do 2 breakout rooms. When you get to your breakout room, okay, choose a spot on the whiteboard and put 5 text boxes with your name in each text box, okay? And those are going to become your talking chips. And every time you speak or type or write a comment, one of those goes into the middle of the whiteboard, okay? And then once your talking chips are all used up, you can't talk anymore, all right? So just be aware of that. So your first thing is I'm going to create your breakout rooms and we're going to split up, okay? Once you've created your talking chips, give yourself a green check mark, and then I'll explain exactly what we're going to be talking about, all right? So I'm just going to clear the green check, and then I am going to create the breakout rooms. Just give me 2 seconds here, you guys, to do that. So we're going to create 2, and we're going to do that. All right, so now you should be in there, and I'm just now going to restructure my board again here. And I'm going to move you guys around a bit because I just realized I'm going to bring there we go. I just distributed a little bit more evenly there, you guys. All right. So there is your breakout rooms. So, oh, and I need to give you whiteboard privilege. That's what else I need to do. Okay, now you should all have whiteboard privilege as well. So I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds. Can you guys create your 5 talking chips, please, on your whiteboards? And then I am, so it's perfect because there's 4 in each group, you guys. So then you can easily just take a corner each, right? Put your 5 talking chips in a corner and then go in. And Jonah just joined class. Good morning, Jonah. So Jonah, I'm just going to put you into a breakout room here, and you're going to create, that's okay. Oh, perfect. Excellent. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to send you to breakout room 1. There you go, Jonah. Perfect. All right, so 30 seconds, you guys. Finish off those talking chips. Once you're done, give me a green check mark, please, so I know I can move on to actually give you your questions that I want you guys to discuss. All right, perfect. Eric, hopefully you've got yours done. Costin, make sure you've got your chips done there. Awesome. Okay, so just as you guys are finishing that, here we go. This is what I want to do. I'm actually going to give you guys about 15 minutes. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 15 minutes because I do want you guys to try to touch on each of these questions, okay? Now, what we can do is if once everyone runs out of talking chips and you guys still have questions to discuss, then you can take your talking chips back and put them back into the middle, right? But you have to make sure what this strategy does, you guys, is it ensures that everyone is participating in the conversation. So you can't take your talking chips back until everyone else's talking chips are all in the middle as well. Okay, so you've got to make sure it's kind of makes everyone in an equal playing field, okay, around discussion. So these are the questions that I want you guys to guide your discussion. And this is, you don't need to have any prior knowledge around this topic, right? This is very personal questions just to you guys. So do you think it's important to follow the news? Why or why not? Do you read the newspaper? If so, which ones? And do you read them print or online? Do you watch the news on TV or listen to the news on the radio? If so, which programs? What other news sources do you use to get information? Where do your parents or guardians get their news from? What about your grandparents or older relatives? Do you have the same habits as those people? Why or why not? And what do you consider to be the most trusted source of news? Why? Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a good 15 minutes to discuss those questions, and you can easily just go through them point by point, right, you guys? Okay, again, remember, talking chips in. Once all the talking chips are out, right, everyone can take them back and you can start again. All right, so go ahead and get started. Good, you guys. We had a great discussion in room 1. So fantastic. Next time we chat, room 2, I'm coming for you. All right, I'm going to put everyone back into the main room. So thank you for doing that, you guys. And hopefully you guys started having that discussion around different news sources, different media. Does it change as your life goes on, right? Like, does your news source change as you get older, right? That sort of thing. What do you guys look at now? Oh, we already did that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is now we're going to go into acquiring the knowledge, okay? So we've got to now do a little bit of more background information around media. We need to learn a little bit about terminology when we're discussing media and getting into that, all right? So media refers, when I say the term media, that really refers to the communication of information and messages to the masses through various channels. And those various channels has changed over time, right? It started with print. That's not even true. It started with word of mouth way back in the day, right? Then it went to print. Then it went to radio. Then it went to TV, right? Now we've got computers, and now we've got smartphones. Now everything is instantaneous. So now we've gone from word of mouth, which would take months, to seconds, okay? It has changed drastically in, in just a couple thousand years, right, you guys? So different types of media. Now, this is super important, you guys, especially when you start dissecting the reliability of an article or of a website or of a news source, okay? You really need to know this because this can affect how you react or affect your opinion on a certain piece of news article, okay? So there are 3 main types of media. There is paid media, okay? Paid media is publicity or awareness that has been paid for or purchased, such as advertising, okay? That's the easiest way to look at paid media. Someone is paid somebody else to advertise for them. That can be through TV, so commercials. It can be through print, okay? So we talk about newspaper ads, magazine ads, or it can be online. Think of Google ads, right? Or it can even be direct mail campaigns, right? So if you get something in the mail, okay? Those are paid media outlets. Now, there's also owned media, okay? Those are communications managed through internal platforms, such as your own website, if you guys own a website, or social media platforms. You own that content, right? You own that communication process, all right? Then there is earned media. Those are the editorial coverage or media mentions reported by third parties, such as the news organizations, external social media channels, or even word of mouth, okay? So you can also classify media as old and new, which is kind of what we just did, right? Old media, right? Now you're talking about word of mouth, you're talking about print, okay? And new media, right? That's going to be your social media, online, those sort of things. Okay, so there's a real distinguish between old and new. So just like I said, old media is traditional, right? The broadcasting out of the news, print sources, TV, newspaper, radio, magazine, flyer, okay? Those key characteristics of old media, okay? Typically a one-way communication. It's only coming from one source, just to you. You don't get to interact with that source. It's delivered at a specific time, right? We watch the 5 o'clock news, right, on TV. There's a limited geographic or jurisdictional reach. So when you look at that, it's going to be your local news, okay? Maybe it's across Canada, right? That sort of thing. And it does strive to maintain journalistic integrity and standards. There are systems in place in that old media that you do have to try to maintain the journalistic standards, okay, and integrity. All right? New media. It's easily accessible through devices. It's your online, it's your social media platform, right? It's usually interactive, okay? It's user driven, okay? So if we're clicking on a specific news article, right? The more likes, the more hits it gets, it's gonna regurgitate more information around that, right? It's gonna give you suggestions, that sort of thing. It's borderless. That's the biggest change right there. This is global, okay? There's no borders on the internet, right? And it functions in real time. And we kind of touched on that in our chat that we were doing just earlier in room 1, right? It's the difference between waiting for a newspaper to come out or waiting for the news to come on to TV, right, at 5 o'clock, whereas I can just get onto my Facebook, get onto YouTube, get onto Twitter, and I can see it in real time, okay? That's a huge change. I've even seen that change in my lifetime, right? That's huge in my lifetime. So the news media does play an essential role in contributing to a well-functioning democracy. So now we're going to start trying to tie it into government, why we're talking about this in a government unit, right, you guys? It is their job to inform us as citizens about current affairs, issues of accountability, issues of transparency from our elected officials and governments, okay? That is part of their job. That's part of their mandate. So let's just share really quickly, you guys. Where do you get your news from? You should have touched on this already in your conversation, right, that you had in your rooms. But now I want to touch on this and let everybody know. Okay, so in the room chat, where do you get your news from? I'm just going to bring up Blackboard here, you guys. All right, good. So from family, okay, so there's that word of mouth aspect, right, Costum? YouTube, good, so social media. Where else? What other social media platforms do you guys get your news from? Facebook, okay, good. So Kyla, again, word of mouth, Castanet. So here you go, here's, do you watch the news, Kyla, on the TV, or do you go online? Both, okay? Now, literally, do you watch it, or is it just on in the background because your parents have it on? Yeah. I don't know too many 15-year-olds that are like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the news tonight, right? It's usually on in the background because your parents have it on, right, while they're cooking dinner or something. So you just get it through that osmosis process, right? Excellent. Yeah, I'm with you. I remember those days. Good. All right, anybody else? I know I use Twitter. Does anyone use Twitter? Give me a green check mark. Do you guys use Twitter? No? That's how I watched the whole election because I was super busy doing something else that night and, you know, I just got too tired. And that's how you just find the hashtag, right? It was BC election. And then I just searched that and then I just followed the chat in Twitter. Right? Yeah, even from Snapchat, for sure. Yeah. Good. All right, I got no Twitterites. Interesting. All right. Good, you guys. So let's head back to my PowerPoint here. All right, so that's where we get our news from. Okay. This came up in our conversation as well with, I think it was Josh B. We were talking about this. This is really, really important, you guys. This idea of facts versus opinions, okay? And this is really important when we start looking at fake news, right? So in most cases, the news media does provide factual coverage to inform us without letting opinions, which are biases, interfere. Okay? But that is super, super hard. Okay? It is a super hard thing to do. And the news media produces opinion pieces. There are parts of the news that are opinion pieces. Those are called editorials, right? Okay? There's editorial teams, columnists, pundits. They openly share their opinions and analyze the situation, and that's called commentary. So, you know, when you're watching, probably the best thing is, how many of you guys watch like Sports Center? Do you guys watch sports? No. Crickets. That's one of the easiest ways to look at commentary, right? When you look at those sports guys sitting around their desk, right? You can really see, Kyla, no, it doesn't. So when you're watching Sports Center, right, they've got all of these experts and they're all analyzing a game, whether it be hockey, basketball, whatever it is, but it's really a commentary on what their opinion is around it, right? So you see this a lot as well with political shows, okay, that sort of thing. So let's take a look at these statements, you guys. These are tricky. And we're just going to use, let's just use the poll, okay? Or actually, no, let's just type into the room chat. It's much easier. You need to decide whether these statements are opinion or fact, okay? So let's just start with the first one. The government is to blame for the out-of-control housing market. Is that an opinion or a fact? Why? Why do you guys say it's an opinion? What makes you believe it's an opinion? There's no factual evidence in the statement. Okay, good, Kyla. That's a good start. Yeah. And I instantly thought it was an opinion too because of the language they used. They say blame, right? That's a very, very loaded word, right? Yeah, absolutely. So let's take a look at the next one then, the next statement. The government has invested $29 million for supplies and resources to help reduce costs for parents and teachers to deliver BC's new curriculum. Fact or opinion? Okay, why? So just like the opposite of the first one, right, you guys? Because it includes some numbers, right? It includes some actual fact behind it, right? Some proof behind it. Yes. Now, this is where I want to challenge your thinking though. Just because news uses numbers to back up their proof, or specific numbers, like Lead says, can we trust that? So if CBC says this is a CBC article and they've come out and they've talked about the new curriculum and the new education that's going into BC, and they've stated this, does that make it truth? So why, Kyla? Why Josh B? Leads, bless your heart. Yeah, thank you. Josh B. Awesome. Okay? Exactly. How do you know that for sure if it's just coming from one source? So how could you find out for sure? And because Josh B has now said, well, that number could be interchangeable, right? How do we know that it's actually 29 million, right? Why didn't, the government or the news source could have just plunked any old number in there? How do we know that's accurate? How do we, and leads, I'd have to say it's not just you, sweetie, right? If you think a news source is trusted and you saw this statement, you would believe it, right? But how do you go about checking that? So if you saw this statement and you were kind of like, Ma, I don't know, what could you do? Yeah, absolutely, Kyla. Yes, check another source. Go and see if it's now being printed somewhere else on a different site, right? And if you can see the trend, right? And really look at different biases as well. Okay, that's really important to think about as well. Right, let's look at the next one. The best way to support families is to increase support for childcare. Fact or opinion? Okay, Jonah, why? Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, it's just a blanket statement, right? There's no fact to back it up, right? So then what about the last one? The graduation rate has increased 2% among BC students over the last 2 years. Fact or opinion? Good. But then what would I preface it with? Because I agree with you guys. That could be construed as a fact, right? Just because it's got that increased by 2%, right? It's got some statistics in there to back it up. But I would still doubt until I've gone to another source, right? And seen if it's actually, or is it just this one news source that's saying this, right? So you always still have to question your facts as well, okay? So really quickly, let's do a little, just a think, pair, share, you guys. 3 minutes, okay? 3 minutes, quick little think, pair, share. So why is it important, just to tie this up together, okay? Why is it important to know the difference between fact and opinion? And why is it important to read multiple sources of news? So really quickly, let's just go. Kaylin, Connor, you guys are going to partner up. Eric and Jenna, can you guys partner up? Jonah and Josh, Josh B and Costin, and then Kyla and Leeds. Can you guys partner up? So let's just go 3 minutes. Why is it important to know the difference between fact and opinion? And why is it important to read multiple sources of news on the same topic? Go. Awesome. Good, you guys. Finish up what you're talking about. Okay, I don't want to cut anybody off here. All right, so now we're going to go right into the election. Okay, the topic of the election. Okay, I know it's past, but it's still super important to still talk about, right? So that you guys are prepared for that next election 4 years down the road, right? So the role of news media in an election is as follows. To report on the developments of an election, provide a platform for parties and candidates to get their message out. They provide a platform for citizens to communicate their concerns and opinions. And they promote debate between the candidates, okay? And they advertise the election process to voters, right? And then they also report on the election results. So really the media plays a role right from the beginning all the way to the very end, okay? Yes. Whoever just wrote that. I got to check who just wrote that, you guys. Oh, Jonah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And very, very biased, right? And it's super interesting to you guys to look at the bias in American media versus Canadian content as well. So keep that in the back of your mind, because I know here in Canada, we still get a lot of American content in the media. So we need to remember that as well, okay? So playing on that, here are some BC news sources, okay? These are from British Columbia. How many of you guys actually know these? Which ones do you recognize and which ones do you not? That's right. Very true, Josh B, right? It is. It's super saturated with American politics, and it is hard, okay? Yeah, so most of you guys will recognize CBC. Most of you guys will recognize Global. Hopefully you recognize CTV, right? CTV, that's the Vancouver one, okay? Good. So those top ones, I would say, are your major communication sources here in BC, like TV-wise as well, right? I would say the middle ones are kind of more like your print and online, right? So like the Vancouver Sun, the Province, the Globe and Mail, those are your like big newspapers who are both in print and online. The T is a, for me personally, the T is just coming into my repertoire of what I'm being exposed to. I never saw it growing up, whereas I saw the Province, the Globe and Mail and stuff growing up. A lot more here of BC with First Nations coverage as well, right, you guys? APTN, right? First Nations in BC Knowledge Network. A lot more First Nations content as well. So this could give you a little clue as well, you guys, as to, you know, if you are looking for reliable sources and doing your fact checking, right? Take a look at some of these other sources, okay? And most of these sources are on your social media as well, right? Like when you go on your Facebook, you guys, you'll see suggested post and something news-wise will come up from Global or from CBC, right? That sort of thing. So here we go. Now put yourselves, I've asked you to do this before, we're going to do another quick little think, pair, share. I want you to take 30 seconds just to think to yourself first, just 30 seconds to yourself. Imagine that you were a candidate in this recent BC election, okay? Whether you were local or whether you put yourself into Christy Clark's shoes or John Horgan, it's totally up to you guys. If you were a candidate in this recent election, which type of media would you focus on to share your message? And what are the strengths and limitations of each type of media? Okay, so think about that. Okay, so just take 30 seconds. What type of media would you have gone after? Okay, 30 seconds. Perfect. Okay, now what I want you to do is let's take 2 minutes and pair up. Stay with the same partners that I've already given you, okay? And partner up and just share your thoughts. If you were in this recent election, which type of media would you focus on? Would you focus on TV ads? Would you focus on social media? Would you focus on print? Okay, that sort of thing. Okay, go ahead, let's just take 2 minutes. Awesome. Perfect, you guys. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so now let's type into the room chat. What type of media would you guys have focused on? Let's see if we've got a range or if everyone would have gone the same. So just into the room chat, you guys, what would you have gone after? Social media? Good. And that's because you guys are the new generation, right? That's how you guys communicate. So, yeah. And it's interesting, the candidates do use that platform as well. They do. Here in BC, all 3 of the major parties used social media for sure. But it just still didn't resonate with the younger, because you would think with social media, it would hit that younger demographic, right? To get them out to vote. And it still doesn't work. It's interesting to see that. You don't get the young voters coming out still, right? Here in Kelowna, and usually at a provincial election, we do see a lot of print ads, right? As you're driving down the road the last couple of weeks, what do you see? You see those signs on the side of the road, right? All the time about your local candidates, your local MLAs that are running. Okay, so that's a form of media, right, you guys? So they use those quite well. You saw probably a lot of attack ads on the TV and from every party, right? Every commercial was about how horrible Christy Clark is, how horrible John Horgan is, and how horrible Andrew Weaver was. So really, they do use advertising on TV as well, okay? But I had a sneaky suspicion that you guys, because of your generation, that you would have gone more social media, right? And maybe we'll see that. Maybe we'll see that as we continue on, right? Yes, but remember that's the federal election's different, right? Right, you guys? Yes, Justin Trudeau does have nice hair. But remember, we're focusing on BC because the federal election is very, very different. Okay, like you're not going to see the signs. Okay, Kaylin, I don't know why you're screaming at me. Oh, I see. I see what you're doing. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And those are called attack ads, right? You're playing on the cons of the other party, right? Not the pros, that sort of thing. Trying to make your own party look better. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to head back here, you guys. Okay, so this is what we're going to do now. Now that you've got an idea around, the different types of media, how media is used within an election, this is what I want you guys to do. There is a worksheet in the assignment, and I'm just going to go show you guys where that is, okay? So when you get into the assignment, if you scroll down right here, this is the worksheet that I want you guys to download. It's called Media Analysis. So it looks something like this. There are 6 boxes. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have all the same information on it. Okay, so there's a title, there's an author or a source, type of media, and a summary of what the article is about. Okay, secondary source means did they get their information from somewhere else? So say, for example, if you were looking online, say on Castanet, okay? So Castanet would be your source, but sometimes Castanet will publish articles, say, from the Canadian Press, okay? That's a secondary source, all right? And then I want you to find the perspective of that article. So what are the perspectives? What are they trying to do? Like what are the, is there bias present? That sort of thing. Are they, are you getting a real one-sided look at things, or do you think it's pretty unbiased? Okay. So, but here's what you're going to do with this, because there's 6 boxes, right, you guys? So just let me head back to my PowerPoint to remind myself of the breakdown of what you're doing. What you're going to do is you're going to analyze different types of media from a variety of sources. And you're going to use that worksheet to help analyze each piece. Okay? Now, I want you to focus, because I'm not just going to go get you guys to randomly choose 6 different topics. I want the topic to be focused on the recent BC election. So everything that you find has to be around the BC election, the most recent one, 2017. Okay, so make sure you're not getting something from 2013. Okay, now this is how you're going to break down those 6 boxes. You have to find at least 2 news articles or broadcast clips from different sources. Okay? So you're looking at a news article, but from different sources, okay? So from 2 different sites, okay? And you're focusing on an article. I want you to find one editorial or opinion piece by a regularly published columnist, okay? So try to find someone of an opinion piece. I want you to find 2 social media postings or blogs from different individual authors or accounts, okay? So something from Facebook or Twitter, right? That sort of thing. And then I want you to find one non-mainstream article or blog. So it can't be something that is from, from those big organizations like CBC or whatever, right? I need you to go a little bit deeper. So the think tank, some sort of organization maybe publishes something, or a community group publishes something, okay? Something like that, and see what their perspective was on the BC election, okay? So I've given that information to you in the assignment as well, all right? So let me just quickly, okay, yeah, because I'm going to tell you guys this all right now. Okay, so once you've done completing your research, okay, now on that page as well, you guys, right, on the worksheet, there are, I think I saved it. Yeah, it's still open. You'll notice that there's actually some questions on the bottom, okay? So make sure that you fill those out as well, because that's going to give you that overall analysis, right? When you've looked at all of your different sources. So make sure that that is filled out as well, because that's going to help you formulate the next aspect of this. Okay? So then you're going to create a form post, okay? Now, a response post. I'm going to go in, I don't think I've done this yet, you guys, so when I get back to my office, I will do this. I'm going to create the form post, right? Just like I normally do, and then you guys are going to respond to it, okay? So no one adds a new discussion topic, okay? But the big theme of our forum post is going to be, why is it important to read beyond the title? Okay? And then you are going to respond to that. Do not create a new topic, you guys. That's my job. You're just going to respond. Now, once you've created your response post to that question, okay, then you need to go back and read, rate, and respond to 3 other students, okay, what they posted. I want you guys to really start working on creating a dialogue and conversation. I am trying to teach you guys some skills, some online skills, because especially those of you that are going to continue on with your online learning next year in grade 11, forums are an essential part in every course, you guys. You've got to be able to keep conversations going and ask those questions of other students. That is how you collaborate, all right? So I'm really trying to build your skill set here. Be thoughtful in what you say. Ask questions. Probe for further detail, right? I think I kind of modeled that when we were doing our breakout rooms today, you guys, right? With that group 1 that I met with today, I was really asking you guys questions, right? I kept saying, why? Why do you say that? You know, tell me about this, okay? You got to ask those questions and probe for further detail. Really want you guys to start challenging each other's thinking, okay? Agree to disagree if need be. So you need to do your research, okay? Those 6 boxes and those 3 questions. And then you need to bring it all together, and why is it important to read beyond the title, okay? So now, just let me see. Okay, make sure your forum post is well thought out and detailed, specific examples that are realistic, make sure that they're relevant, okay? Well written, no grammatical errors, and flows well. Now, in your forum post, okay, I want you to do your little write-up, but I also want you to add your research sheet so that I can take a look at it, okay? So there's kind of that, you have to upload that as well, so you should have that Word document in there as well, okay? So give me a green check mark if we are clear on what we need to accomplish. Now, in regards to the research aspect, good, thank you. In regards to the research aspect, okay, the 6 boxes, if you want to work with a partner, it does not have to be with a partner that I partnered you up with. Feel free if you want to work with a partner on that. I do not mind. So if you want to find your own partner to work with, that's fantastic. You guys can help each other out, or you can work on it individually. It's totally up to you guys. Okay? Okay, that you now have just over an hour to work on this, okay? So this is my end of the live classroom, you guys. I'm gonna head back to my office. So don't ask me any questions yet. Wait until I'm back in my office and hold off on those questions. And then I will be checking in with you guys on see how the research is going. All right? Okay. Bye, guys.